All right, let's watch this one then from Mtashed. The Wuthering Waves conspiracy was real. All right, I have no idea what he's talking about here, but let's get into it and see if it's something that we've noticed or it's just some, I don't know.
People called me a conspiracy theorist about
Okay.
Wuthering Waves. They said I was a blasphemer, I was a liar, but I was right. I was right about the ping. Now, this might seem...
Okay, I've noticed that when I first start playing the game, ever since launch, the game runs fine for me. But for about 20 seconds when I very first get onto the game, I have this insane lag and stuttering, and I notice that my ping shoots up all over the place. It's kind of weird, and then it just settles. And I've always wondered if there was something going on the back end throughout the rest of my playtime. Because I've been noticing as I'm doing more of the higher hologram stuff, I do feel like I get input drops maybe. You know, my parries, my dodges and stuff like that. I don't know if that's necessarily what he's talking about, but yeah. Are we getting the right reading for the ping? What's on screen? Is that actually our ping or is it different?
Seem crazy. I might seem kooky, but I noticed very early on there is something wrong with the servers of this game and the inputs of this game, and I was right.
Okay.
At least other people are starting to come to light and bring these things to light. And
okay, so I have definitely noticed myself, especially when you're fighting on some of the harder content. I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I dodged that. I swear I got my parry timing right. But it's even sometimes the animation's happening and I still get hit, and it's like, okay, I don't know if I was just position wrong or that something there, but I am like 99% sure I got everything correct and I timed it just right, and I still fail.
And talk about them. Now, I understand that Wuthering Waves has some amazing things, but
it does.
The combat is so punishing that if you miss a dodge...
This is true. This is true. This is what I like about the game, though, if I'm honest. I do like the fact that it can be quite punishing. It can be frustrating, especially if you think it's something that you're not doing wrong. Like, I think like any gamer, when you do something wrong yourself, it's like, okay, that was on me. When you're like, dude, I swear I did everything there. And the game's like, nope. That's when you get frustrated. So I can understand it. I've had some frustrating moments on some of the holograms. Obviously, most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm like, yeah, dude, that was me. My timing was off. I'm being too aggressive. I'm using the wrong comps. I'm just making mistakes left, right, and center. And then there's times when I'm like, dude, something's not right here.
You can take some incredible amounts of damage or even get one shot.
Yep.
So pressing the button and the button not registering and doing the dodge feels bad. And I noticed...
Okay, so I am not crazy in thinking this then. I haven't gone on about it too much, but anybody who's watched me doing the holograms, I like quite a few times I'm like, dude, I dodged there. I dodged. But I don't want to be that guy that's like trying to blame the game. Because I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just trash and I don't know it.
It over and over again. And people were like, oh, you just missed your dodge. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I pressed the button. I know in my soul I pressed that button and I didn't dodge.
Okay.
Now, I want to preface this.
What's the evidence, though?
Clip I'm
Give me
about to
evidence.
show you because it's a
I need to feel good about myself. I need evidence.
completely different game. But I used to be a very competitive shooter player. Back in high school, I would go and I would travel around and play in Halo 3 tournaments. I'd play online. I was a very high
I didn't know that about MTash. To be fair, I don't watch much of MTash, but I didn't know that at all.
ranked gamer. And then I got old. But
yeah,
I could tell
it
in
sucks.
PUBG. All right? This is Shroud. This is Shroud. Okay,
Damn,
Michael
look how young
is a
Shroud
great
is
player.
looking
His
there.
name is Michael as well.
You guys
He is
can't see. Shroud is looking... Oh, wrong one. Hold up. Look at that baby face Shroud, man. Holy cow.
One of the best players in the world. He's a CSGO pro. This guy is way better than me. He is way better than 99% of people. And he is decimating everyone in this lobby. But I knew, not because of this, but because of something that happened earlier, that this guy is not playing the same video game as me. He is playing with such a massive advantage because of this. All right? I want to explain this because this is what's happening in Wuthering Waves. And there's a whole other post about it in Wuthering Waves talking about...
See, look, the game says I don't have a high ping, but the thing that I've been questioning is the ping that's being registered actually the real ping? Because I think it's obvious if the game does have high ping, you're going to have some issues, which is kind of weird for a single player game, I guess. But I don't know exactly how the back end works on this game. I guess it's with all the, I don't know actually. I'm not even going to try and explain it. But yeah, I just wonder if I'm actually getting the true ping, what's being shown on screen.
Some of these issues. When Shroud flies in here and he goes and he picks up this gun, he drags the gun into his inventory, all the ammo into his inventory, and equips it. But for me, in Canada, I couldn't do that. I know that it sounds so stupid, but he goes like this, and he swipes all these guns in his inventory, all the ammo, and it's in his inventory, it's equipped, it's ready to go. I literally could not do that from my Canadian connection because it
skill diff, man. Skill diff. It's that Canadian internet. It's a skill difference.
Would like drop the guns out. And so anytime I played PUBG, I would get frustrated because I would go, I'm not playing the same game. I am playing a scuffed version of this game. I am playing a dumbed down or trolled version of this game. I don't feel like it is competitive. And that's the...
So were Canadian players pinging off US servers then, I guess? So it'd pretty much be like in the UK, I guess you'd be like running off Eastern European Russian servers, which I think you sit on around about a 90 to 100 millisecond ping if you do that, don't you? Where typically most games, well, when you're playing in the UK anyway, are London servers or Western, maybe Central, and even then, you know, the ping isn't too bad at all because, like, obviously the distance between where I live in the UK and places like France is like, you know, the distance between some states in America. So you don't really notice it, but definitely when you're running off a service base in the Midlands or London, you can tell that it is definitely more responsive.
Exact same way I feel about the bosses in Wuthering Waves.
I don't find it to that extreme. I think when you're playing a first person shooter and you know that you're on a high ping, it's insane because in fact it's a PvP game. But I definitely agree with that. I feel that I do get input drops. I don't ever feel it when I go on the offensive, but when it comes for my parries and my dodges, there's so many times when I'm like, dude, something's not right there, man. Something is not right.
Now, there's another thing here. This guy on Wuthering Waves says, this game punishes high ping more than most multiplayer games despite being mostly a single-player experience. Calcharo not filling his forte bar properly. I felt this all the time. I would slash, and I'd only have...
Actually, you know what? Not, like, forte bar properly. Like, I've not had it all the time. But I feel like a few times, I just thought it was just Calcharo's kit just not being great sometimes, and I was doing something wrong, but I have noticed that myself as well, but I just thought I was kind of messing up, which could have been sometimes, but I do feel that I've noticed that a few times with Calcharo actually in the Forte bar. That's interesting. It was mainly, I was relating it to the dodges and parries when you're playing some of the holograms and some of the harder content, mainly the holograms really. But thinking about it now, I definitely have noticed that with Calcharo as well.
Have 2 out of 3 on the bars. Even though I hit the target, it would not work. If you use his forte game or his ultimate and you're doing those attacks, it wouldn't fill the bar properly, even when hitting them, because somewhere in the sauce, in the ping, it would get...
See, like I say, this is what I'm saying. I'm getting... Is the ping that's being shown to me actually correct? I think it is, and I wouldn't think why it wouldn't. You know, I guess it could be a bug, but I have had these issues as well. Probably not as bad as somebody who knows they're on 150 millisecond ping, but I've definitely noticed this, and I think I sit on like I can't remember what it is. Usually around about 40. But like I say, at the start of the game, every time I load in, and I'm on like 4090 top end PC, for about, I don't know if anybody else has had this. Nobody's ever seemed to relay to me that they've had the same thing. They just mentioned that sometimes having issues with the game. But for 20 seconds when I first load in, it's like stop animation for a few seconds where the game just goes into insane lag. I have spikes up to 300, 400 milliseconds ping, and then it goes back down instantly, and then the game just runs buttery smooth for the rest of the playtime.
Get deleted. It just wouldn't register on the servers. And the same thing goes with dodging and other things. Characters will randomly not dodge at all when pressing the button. The amount of people that just said, skill issue, skill issue, skill issue. No! It's the game. It is 100% the servers. I've played like on LAN. I have played online. I have played against some.
What is the like? Somebody who knows games in terms of this sort of part of games needs to explain this to me. So why is the combat server based then? I understand like other elements of the game needing to be online, but why is the combat not client side? Why is it server side then? I need that explained to me because I'm dumb.
Advantage matters, and I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I could feel in the middle of a tournament that my jump button had a tiny little grain of sand in, a little grain of hair. There's a cat hair shoved in there, and it wasn't quite activated.
Definitely noticed it with the Crownless and Memphis.
I could tell right away with the ping, there's been something.
Actually, saying that, another fight where I've really noticed it is with the Morning Aches. I've noticed it when, you know, when he does the beam attack. Not the straight beam, you know, when it's like the double beam that closes and then he does like the multiple missiles. I've noticed it a lot with that, where I will dodge and the character just carries on running. And I always just thought like, dude, did I just, I don't know, like, did I just mess up there? Have I just timed it literally as the beam hit me? But like thinking back now, that's happened quite a lot with that. It was mainly on like the Crownless and the Memphis fights that I noticed the dodge issue. But looking back now, I've noticed this myself, but I always just thought, you know what? I'm not going to go on about it too much in the fights because I sound like a bitch and people are just going to be like, you know, skill issue, skill difference, dude, you suck. But yeah, I've noticed quite a lot now when I think about it. Only in that sort of content. It's more the holograms that I've really, really felt it. But it definitely does feel like input drops. Like I said, I've even seen it when and it feels like the animation does happen, but I still get hit. And I was always just thinking, well, maybe I was in the wrong position. I've timed it off, but I don't think it is that now, thinking about it. Yeah, what's up, Neil?
Wrong. And the other big one of the main mechanics of the game is the parrying.
Yep.
Pairing with characters have short parry frames, like Calcharo becomes almost...
Again, this is what I was just talking about, the parry and the dodge. Definitely in like the Memphis and the Crownless fights, I've noticed that.
Possible. Now, there is a couple things here. It's based on the animation a little bit, so certain animations are better. Verena, Gion, some of them have these crazy, easy parries.
Yeah.
But there were times where I would sit there, I would watch that animation, and I would click it, I would test it, and it just wouldn't work. I would do it absolutely perfectly. I would go into the Crownless fight.
I am so glad M-Dash is talking about this, because I felt like I was insane. And that's why I just didn't voice it too much. I mentioned it a few times in the fights, but I was just like, yeah, maybe I'm just trash, you know? I'm just getting older and I'm just trash. But in my head, I was like, no, dude, I know I timed that bang on.
I would not even try to dodge. I would not have any music on. I would sit there and just press parry, and it would not work. I could tell it early on. I could tell it a couple hours in, and then 100 hours into the game, I said, this is broken. This is not functioning properly, and getting one shot by a boss because of it made me angry. And other people just, it's like they just called it skill issue, and they would just call me a complainer. But the more I played the game, the more I would get frustrated, because it's like, this doesn't feel fair. I did the thing I was supposed to do. I should win.
The game's cheating me. I know it feels though.
I should parry them. I should dodge. I should be alive right now. And every time it happened, it was this little thing in my brain saying, this isn't right. This isn't smooth.
Actually, speaking about it as well, the impermanence Heron as well. Quite a few times that fight frustrated me because I was like, dude, fucking dodge there. I'll time my parry perfectly, but nope.
There's something wrong here, and I'm glad that other people are recognizing this. Now, there's one thing I want to discuss.
I wonder if this is something that could all respond to.
He talks about ping, 150 plus ping. It isn't just that. Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm a pro Valorant player, but I am a very good pro-ish level shooter player overall. Any game I play, I can pull off shots like that, even though I suck arguably at Valorant compared to...
Dude, I miss playing Valorant. I'm going to have to get back on Valorant again. It's been a hot minute. I do really like Valorant though. It's a lot of fun. Well, I say that. It's one of those games I love to hate. It's a lot of fun for a little time, and then as soon as you start really getting back into it, I hate the game.
player, there are moments where my aim shines compared to the average person, and people go, huh, this guy's cooking. And I understand that in the world of Valorant, there's lots of guys that are great at aiming, but I noticed very early on, Valorant servers suck. Being a Canadian player, it is so obvious that I'm at a disadvantage over other people that I even tested it. I played against a friend from Texas who's closer to the servers, and we filmed strafing out, and he would strafe out and shoot me before I could see him on the screen.
This was a thing that back in the day we Call of Duty though. This is nothing new really, and it's nothing specific to Valorant either. I didn't realise that you Canadians had to really deal with that much. I thought you guys would have a lot of servers in Canada, but I guess Canada is a massive country as well, isn't it? And it's quite like sparsely populated in terms of its size. You know, it's geographic. A lot of people are in the big cities, aren't they? There's large swaths of Canada that are not populated, aren't they?
Now, I understand that there's peaker advantage and there's going to be different things like that, but we did a bunch of tests at different angles, and it is insane how much of an advantage he had over me. And so even though in the game you might not have 150 ping, like this guy is saying here, he's saying 150 ping.
I'll say because I don't. Well, I know I don't because obviously I'm in EU servers, but two, it's telling me I don't. But like, I feel like maybe it's not right what's on the screen. Maybe I've got just a little bit higher ping than what it's telling me, and that's enough with the fast-paced, punishing combat that it's, you know, it's just enough for you to get those dropped inputs. But again, why is the combat server side then? Why is it not client side on a single player game? Like I say, I get all the need for the online part of the rest of it, but I'm curious as to why that is a thing then, especially when it's obviously causing issues for other people as well. As I said, I knew it was causing issues for me, but I suppose it was infrequent enough that there was that part of my brain that was like, yeah, maybe it was just you. Maybe you just timed it wrong. You know, maybe it was just a miss input. Maybe you just like, you know, you're trash.
It doesn't matter. Because in Wuthering Waves, I only have, 60, 70, 80 ping on some of the streams or some of the days, and it still feels terrible. Because depending on where you live and the location of the servers, it is not registering inputs. In this video here, just tapping the button for this guy, sometimes it will summon the whole thing in. It would happen all the time with my morph.
I've noticed that with the Inferno Rider as well. I just thought I was doing it wrong at first.
I would try to just tap the herring, and then I'd go into the flying summon mode because it would register as like a long input, even though I just tapped the button.
Yeah, I've had that as well.
All sorts of little hijinks like that where you're pressing.
I legit just thought it was me with the heron. When you go into like you fly around and you breathe the blue fire, don't you? I just genuinely thought I was being dumb.
A button and it's just not.
I'm liking this. This is an eye opener. I'm glad that I'm not the only one with this. Because there was times that I thought I was going crazy.
Reacting properly. Because if you're quick tapping and you're trying to do the multiple hit combo, because of the delays, it's just registering it as one single push. It's not differentiating those buttons. And so I don't know all that goes into it, but I've known for a long time that Wuthering Waves had something that was just a little bit off, just a little weird. And I'm glad that I'm not crazy. Reading through the comments, there's other people that are like, yeah, no, I get this as well. There's probably going to be other people that just won't agree and call it skill issue, and that is what it is.
But you're always going to get that. There's always that party in gaming. Is that, well, it don't affect me, so it can't be true. You know, you just get good, bro. You know.
But when I'm fighting a boss that can one-shot me, and I have to parry, and I have to click it perfectly so that I don't die, and it doesn't register, I just don't want to play the game anymore.
I haven't got that far yet, but I understand that. It's super frustrating. It really is super frustrating. There's nothing worse in a video game than you're doing everything right, but something on the game side, the back-end servers, and it just punishing you because of that. Again, it sucks when you fail yourself, but when you know you've done something wrong, or even if you don't know exactly what you did wrong, but you know you're not at the standard you need to be to complete this, or you're underleveled, or whatever it might be, you're not learning the patterns just yet, you can't pinpoint where you went wrong, but you know you went wrong, or you just completely know, I missed time now, I don't know the pattern, I went too aggressive, I was too defensive, whatever it might be. It sucks, but you're like, well, okay, that was on me. I get it. I suck. I just got to get good. But when you know that you did everything just right, and that happens, and the worst is as well. I've had it happen in some of the holograms when you start so well as well. And it's like, dude, I've had fights where like I'm not doing too great. I've started off poorly, and then I mess up, and then I'm like, damn, that was just on me. And then you have those fights where you come in, you do everything bang on, you're DPSing so well, you're switching everything, you're timing everything, your synergy's perfect, you're draining the health really fast, and then you have a misinput, and then you get your Jiang gets one shot, or one of your DPSs get one shot, and then you have to switch out, and then you bring a heal in, and then you get hit again because you're in that defensive state then, and the next thing you know, you're having to wait for the heals, and the fight's just scrapped, and it sucks. It does suck.
I just don't. And when I play a game like Dark Souls,
Hey, what's up, Gremlin?
Or Elden Ring, when I miss a dodge, I missed the dodge. I understand every time it's a skill issue, and I do not question it. Every time I die in Elden Ring, I might go, oh my god! But I also knew it was my fault. Yeah. The attack might be BS. It might have a crazy attack window, but I always know when I'm going to press dodge, I will dodge, and it will work 100% of the time. I never ever question it in that game. I have never even considered, oh, the button didn't work. Not even once. So, yeah. I'm not crazy. I am good at the game. I am good at the game. Gamers, I want to talk about something.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I'm glad I watched that video, actually.
Conspiracy theorist.
Because I have definitely noticed it. As I said, it's been infrequent enough that it's made me genuinely question. I think it's just me. It's just me. I'm sure it's just me. I've just mistimed something. Again, I'm on a decent ping, so maybe I'm just getting spikes that are potentially happening in these, these holograms where there's a lot of stuff going on in the fight. There's a lot of particle effects, and the server's spiking high enough but quick enough that it's maybe not registering on screen, or maybe I'm that locked in that I'm not noticing the ping spike, and that's causing an input drop, or it's just happening even when the ping's not spiking. It's just because of the nature of it being server-side potentially. Again, it's not game breaking for me because it happens quite infrequently, but frequently enough for me to question my sanity. And obviously it is not good at all if this game is going to succeed and is going to continue to have this end game content that's hopefully progressively going to get more difficult and have a variation of difficulties, so it's engaging and replayable and continues to pull people back in. That definitely has to be fixed. So this is a good that Tash has made this video, actually, and hopefully other creators who have a voice can maybe, if they've had the situation happen to them as well, because I do think this is something that over time, if it gets worse or it continues to be there, it could, really turn people off the game. Because again, Wuthering Waves is not a hard game, but it does have some genuinely quite difficult content in the game. And it sucks if you can't get past difficult content because something is wrong on the game side of things. It's one thing if you can't complete something in a video game because you just can't get good enough to do it, or you can't figure it out. It sucks, but it is what it is. But when it's on the game side, that really blows. That does. So yeah, that was a good video, actually. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm in the same boat as MTash did. It's good to see that other people are struggling as well. Obviously don't want to see people in difficulties, but in this case I do. So yeah, great video from MTash. Obviously, I'm sure anybody who's watched my content knows about MTash. Check him out, drop a sub. It was a good video, that was. Dude, I'm not subscribed to MTash. I've watched his content before and I'm not subscribed to him. Yeah, interesting. Be curious to see if more people talk about that. It's something that Kuro respond to as well. Because that not good. Just talking about there's some server ping issues in the game and having misinputs, such as your parries and your dodges, which I've had happen to me. But I always just like, there's that, that battle in your head sometimes where you're like, dude, was that me or was that the game? Obviously, there's a lot of times in video games where you're like, I know that was the game. I know, you could just 100% that was on the game. There was some lag or whatever it might be. The game's bugged. But then there's those times where something happens in a video game, and because it's such a small window, such a quick thing, that it makes you question it. You're like, was that me? Or was that the game? And I've had that question in my head a few times, that inner monologue battling with itself of like, did I just fuck up there? But I'm sure I didn't. Dude, I'm 100% sure I timed it perfectly. And then there's that other side of my brain going, nah, dude, you just suck. You just suck. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one with that. That's interesting then. I wonder if it's something that will be brought up, or it's even something that can potentially fix, because, you know, that's the problem sometimes with these sorts of games when you've got this sort of combat, having nerves. Again, anybody who knows more than me, why is that stuff server-side then? Because it's got to be, hasn't it? Because if you're having those sort of things happen, then that's a connection issue. Why is that not client-side?